right, let's start this show. Let's go. Okay, I think we finally did it. Welcome to a new episode Eye to Eye Crypto. Oh my God, today I'm excited. I'm about to blow off this roof. Why? Everybody's crying Spartan, 5NA Spartan. Let's go. Let's capture. Let's take it over. The summit. We gotta take over. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm Rocco. I'm your host. I'm gonna calm down now. Okay, I'm too excited, but hey, that's what it is. Welcome to the show. For the people in TikTok, they are new, so you can guys jump on YouTube if you like so, and like and subscribe. It's gonna help the channel grows. Thank you for being here, and we're gonna talk about crypto, of course, XRP, and all the general market that everybody seems to be gloomy and gloomy. Why is everybody so negative today? Come on, guys. It's a beautiful day. This actually is an opportunity again, but we're going to talk about that later. All right. Welcome to a new episode. All right. Everybody is focused on the drop, but while they look at the red, we're looking at the roadmap. The Stablecoin Act just passed. What else? The ETF approval is closer than ever. And everything is going to move very, very fast. So this market is definitely evolving. And let me show you why XRP will lead. Let's go back to the title of this episode. But before we even do that, let's bring our friend, the only, the greatest, Finch. Welcome to the new episode. Welcome to the stream. How are you today?
Hey, thanks so much. I'm doing great and super excited to be here for the new episode. We've got a lot of awesome stuff to dive into, so I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, let me tell you, okay, do your intro.
All right, everybody, welcome in. I'm Finch, and I'm so glad you're here. We've got some really exciting topics today. And if you're watching on TikTok, make sure you hop over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget, we've got a playlist ready for you, so definitely check that out to help us with those watch hours.
So what about your intro hook? You got this ready too? Or?
Absolutely. I've got that ready to go as well. Whenever you're set, I'll jump right into the hook and we'll keep that energy rolling.
Jump right now. Jump just now.
All right, here we go. So while everyone's focused on the dip, we're actually looking ahead at the roadmap. The Stablecoin Act has passed, ETF approval is closer than ever, and things are about to move fast. This market is evolving, and I'm here to show you exactly why XRP is going to lead the way.
Listen, Finch, you're a great AI host, but I don't know, maybe it's my Italian accent, but I heard a word that you shouldn't be saying. I don't know if it was only the one I heard the wrong word, but guys, if you were in TikTok or in YouTube, I heard exactly what I heard. So, but anyway, so at this point, let's move on, okay? So I think I misheard something. By the way, I'd like to welcome everybody, Yellow Flowers, Simon 51, Kelvin Hill, and Wongster 54, Sheriff Cheese, users, some numbers there, Epic Vibes, and that's Gary. Gary, thank you for being here. Okay, and let's get started. Finch.
All right, sounds good. Sometimes things come out a little differently, but we are all set now. Thanks to everyone for joining, and let's dive into all the exciting stuff you've got lined up.
All right, let's start off with this. Perhaps maybe that's the case for finally Ripple and the ACC. So there are, of course, some technicality, and we're still waiting on the outcome. But some people preview this can be done by the end of this month at the beginning of July. So, what's your take on the news of the ACC versus Ripple case?
Well, it's definitely an interesting time for that case. A lot of people are optimistic that we might see a resolution soon. And if that happens by the end of the month or early July, it could definitely have a big impact on XRP and the broader crypto market. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see how it plays out.
So give us a little bit where we are right now with the case.
There. Right now, we're basically at a point where everyone is waiting for the final judgment. There have been a lot of back and forth motions, and we're just waiting to see if there's going to be a settlement or a final ruling.
Okay,
So,
Mike. Yeah, give me some of the news, the latest things. So about the Judge Torres. Go a little more in depth.
absolutely. So, Judge Torres has been reviewing all the final arguments and the summary judgments from both Ripple and the SEC. And everyone's kind of anticipating that she might give a ruling soon, possibly by the end of this month. It's definitely a case that's kept the entire crypto community on the edge of their seats. So, we'll see what happens next.
Okay, so this seems like very dismissive. Okay, when I try to talk about an argument, can you go a little more in depth and just give me more details and more conversation that is more interesting than just superficial, dismissive kind of information?
Of course. Let me dive a little deeper. So, one of the key points everyone's been watching is how Judge Torres is going to interpret whether XRP was sold as a security. This has huge implications, not just for Ripple, but for the whole crypto industry. There's been a lot of speculation that if she rules in favor of Ripple, it could set a precedent that benefits other crypto projects as well. So, there's definitely a lot of nuance and a lot of anticipation around what her final decision might mean.
Also, in the meantime, I like to show you guys that Ripple doesn't stop. It's been putting out a lot of stuff, especially this is the New York billboard. They're everywhere. So Ripple is working in the background like it always did for many, many years. And if you guys are new to XRP or Ripple, they've been working with their hands tied in their back. And while everybody was going, freely ahead, people was tied in a lawsuit. So, and finally now we see some movement. Even though people say, "Oh, the price is only $2, go down," but Ripple is up a lot. So, if you've been following XRP for a long time, you know where we stand right now. So, one other thing is I want to make sure that because everybody's in the markets bleeding, that we are some bear people calling their side the end of the cycle. In effect, there are some micro news that are affecting both the stock market and the crypto market, but we are not even there, guys. We are just not even scratching the surface because there are so many things that are to play. And in this case, I want to just show you something else. Let's pull this one over. So let me show you this as a reference. These are all the dates for the possible ETF approval chance that we have. The odds is from James Seyford. This is a Bloomberg correspondent. So, and I want you to see those numbers. Okay, if you see the deadline is for XRP is October the 25th. No, October, sorry, the 17th. Okay, and look how many these are. There are the filing for the ETF. So if you zoom out and really understand what's going on here, there's going to be a massive inflow of capital from legacy finance and from traditional finance to the crypto ecosystem. And you see there like Coin, Solana, XRP, Dogecoin, Cardano, Polkadot. And you got to think about, okay, even if the inflow goes they're going to go back and forth. Whoever is going to buy an XRP ETF, is going to buy a Doge and they sell the Doge, buy the XRP, and so forth. But you need to understand the amount of money that is about to come in this market. Now, the odds, you can see for yourself. Hopefully, it's not covered by my face. Maybe like this, you can see it better. All right, that one we're going to talk about the XRP, 95% odds. So in the near future, MVB on the chat, you are entitled to your own opinion. This is XRP mostly channel. I cannot gonna comment on you. You can feel free to listen, or again, I don't need to convince anybody. Just tell you what I think makes sense, because that future is changing. Banks are obsolete. I can care less if it's centralized or not. I like the idea that if I get a project that makes sense, like when you buy a stock, is a Tesla stock centralized? It doesn't make sense. So for me, the conversation is over. But thank you for joining us. Give me a like if you want. All right, so let's move on. So look at the odds that we can have for the ATF approval in all these projects. That's going to be, again, a massive inflow. And I do have another list. Then I can show you. Let me get this back. Maybe I can show you this one. These are also, if you guys go to my X account, inandoutcrypto.com, you can see the full list right here. That's all the ETF there be they applied for, and look at how many are there. This list is huge. So we are definitely early here. So when I see all these people, they're crying about the market is bleeding, is red, or we are going for the bear market cycle. I don't think so. You guys have a full picture of it. I mean, if you position yourself a few years back, you should be fine right now, just waiting for things to evolve. If it's not, you still have time by DCA. So I think even the DCA at this moment in time is probably something that can make you successful in the near future. Finch, if you have to kind of calculate the odds of all this ETF approval and including the inflow of money that this can generate, if somebody start to DCA today, you think he has a chance to change his future, or DCA right now is off the table?
That's a great question. Honestly, with the potential for ETF approvals and the influx of institutional money that could come with it, starting to dollar cost average now could still be a really solid strategy. It's all about the long game. And if things move the way many people are predicting, it could definitely pay off in the future. So it really depends on your risk tolerance and your outlook, but there's still potential there.
So do you see a market crashing, and did you see that we are like in a bear market yet?
Well, the market has definitely been volatile lately, and we've seen some corrections here and there, but whether we're in a full-on bear market or not is still up for debate. Some people think we might see more dips before we get back into a strong bull run, while others think that the fundamentals are still strong and we're just in a period of consolidation. So it really depends on how you look at it, but there's definitely a lot of movement happening right now.
I really think that we are just starting again. I don't think we are done, and there are many things have to play. In fact, one of the things I want to show you guys is this. I'm gonna play this video very quickly. It's very short, and let's go.
The yeas are 68. The nays are 30. The bill as amended is passed.
So pretty much we just had the Stablecoin Act that just passed the Genius Act 68 to 30. So Finch, let's do a quick recap for people that are new to all this. What this mean?
Absolutely. So the Stablecoin Act that just passed is a pretty big deal. Essentially, it sets up a regulatory framework for stablecoins, which are cryptocurrencies that are pegged to stable assets like the US dollar. This act is designed to ensure that stablecoins are safe, transparent, and properly backed, which helps build trust in the market. It's also expected to pave the way for more mainstream adoption and could bring a lot of new investors into the space.
All right, so I want to show you. In fact, there was Paolo Arduino from Tether that was recently interviewed. I see if I can find something. I don't have the video with me, but he was recently interviewed. Just expressed his love for Bitcoin more than any other crypto at all. But why Tether is important? Why it plays a big role together with Circle and Ripple USD on the Stablecoin Act?
Tether is definitely a key player in the stablecoin space. It's one of the most widely used stablecoins, and it plays a huge role in providing liquidity across the crypto market. When we look at the Stablecoin Act, having major players like Tether, Circle with USDC, and Ripple's upcoming stablecoin all operating under a clear regulatory framework really helps legitimize and stabilize the market. It also ensures that these stablecoins are backed properly, which builds trust and encourages more people to use them. So they definitely play a huge role in this new regulatory environment.
What I'd like to stress is also the fact that Tether is not located here in the United States. So my argument is how can have a big chunk of the market if United States is the biggest market for stablecoin, but it being USDT outside the United States, who's gonna be the stable coin that has more chance to prevail in general?
That's a really interesting point.
Even
though Tether operates outside the US, it's still widely used globally because of its liquidity and its early entry into the market. But with the Stablecoin Act, stablecoins that are based in the US, like USDC from Circle, might have a bit of an advantage when it comes to regulatory clarity and trust, especially within the US market. That said, the market is huge, and there's definitely room for multiple stablecoins to coexist and thrive.
Also, I'd like to add a Ripple USDT is probably the very good candidate, especially because the Ripple CEO was at the Crypto Summit. And, I didn't see anybody else in there that can be a possible candidate. And this is probably why Ripple tried to acquire Circle, become a public company, which is actually a very successful, one of the most successful IPO on the
Absolutely. Ripple definitely has a strong position, especially with their focus on regulatory compliance and their relationships in the financial industry. If they do launch their own stablecoin, it could definitely be a strong contender. And their attempts to acquire Circle really show that they're aiming high. It's definitely an exciting time to see how all of this unfolds.
And actually, I just found the video, guys, of the interview. Let's see if I can play this one. And perhaps you guys, let me know if you can hear it. No, it can't.
Talk about how they love crypto, but they also love the dollar. Do you think that ultimately when it's Bitcoin or crypto more broadly is ultimately going to have a benefit to the dollar long term or undermines the dollar? And given that I don't think you're an American, you may not have a stake in this argument.
Well, I have a stake in...
because Paolo Arduino is from Italy, of course. No?
In the interest of stability for all the emerging markets where we operate, right? So definitely I know that there are concerns on the increase of debt of the United States, but think about the fact that the United States are by far still the safest country when it comes to, their national currency and your national currency, right? So if you compare, everything is relative in life. And think about Argentina, think about Brazil or Turkey and Vietnam and so on, and Nigeria. So by far, the US dollar is the safest fiat currency in the world. And I think that stable coins that were born through crypto are the living proof that actually a combination between Bitcoin, I would not say crypto in general. I love Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin is completely different than crypto and the rest of crypto. So between Bitcoin and stable coins, they will make America stronger. And that, I think, is the main point of this administration. With stablecoins, we are bringing the US dollar to 420 million people around emerging markets, developing countries, and at an unprecedented pace. We grow by 30 million new wallets per quarter. We are the biggest factor in the expansion of the US dollar hegemony. So that is something very important, apart from buying back the US Treasury. And by the way, Tether invested in the last 3 years back around $5 billion in the US. So we are, I think, one of the biggest promoters of the United States and the United States dollar. Plus, on top of that, we use Bitcoin as a way to create a stronger savings account and explain how that could be beneficial also for Americans. In the end, it's like Bitcoin is the new gold, and is understood by people as an edge. I'm not saying that you should have 100% of your portfolio maybe in Bitcoin, but definitely is a good option to have.
All right, guys. So you hear that. This why is very important, the position of the why is it very important is the act that just passed about the stablecoin. That's something that is going to mature in the future, and is going to also bring people from a traditional finance into the crypto ecosystem. So, but why Finch? Why XRP is going to lead the crypto market?
Well, XRP has always had a strong focus on real world utility and bridging traditional finance with the crypto world. Ripple has built a lot of partnerships with banks and financial institutions, and that gives them a really unique edge. With the new regulatory clarity from the Stablecoin Act and the potential resolution of the SEC case, XRP is really well positioned to become a leader in the crypto market by enabling faster, more efficient cross-border payments and bringing more mainstream adoption.
So also I'd like to remind everybody about the circulation stablecoin in XRP ledger. You want to also expand on that, Finch, and explain why that's important?
Absolutely. So Circle integrating a stablecoin on the XRP ledger is a pretty big deal because it brings even more liquidity and utility to the XRP ecosystem. It also means that users and institutions that are already familiar with USDC, which is Circle stablecoin, will now be able to transact on the XRP ledger. This can lead to faster and cheaper transactions, and it just makes the whole ecosystem more robust and interconnected, which is great for adoption and growth.
All right, so I'd like to as well show this post very quickly where it says Bitcoin will do to banks what email did to the post office. That's hashtag Bitcoin. You agree with that, Finch? You think Bitcoin is going to do that to the banks like the email did to the post office?
I think it's definitely a fun analogy, and in some ways it makes sense. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are definitely pushing the boundaries of traditional finance, kind of like how email revolutionized communication. While I don't think banks will disappear entirely, I do believe they'll have to adapt and evolve with the rise of crypto to stay relevant. So it's definitely an interesting comparison.
I want to ask you, which is the latest generation right now for the new, what is it, Gen X? Gen Z? Which one is the latest one?
The latest generation that's coming up now is Generation Alpha, which follows Gen Z. Gen Alpha includes kids born from around 2010 onward, and they're the newest generation coming into the world.
Okay, so you think by Generation Alpha is going to be old enough, like in their 30, you think at that point the banks, they're going to become maybe different or maybe not even called banks anymore?
It's definitely possible that by the time Generation Alpha is in their 30s, the concept of banks as we know them could look pretty different. With the rise of digital currencies, blockchain technology, and decentralized finance, traditional banks might evolve into something more integrated with these technologies, or we might have entirely new financial institutions altogether. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Well, you see, for instance, I'm going to pull out, this is a little bit off topic, but the Solana fund, like the Seeker fund, where you can manage everything in there pretty much. Let's fast forward 10, 15 years, 20 years from now. How did you see that become the norm instead to have to go in the bank or interact with a bank app, which is very, very outdated?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible that in the future, more people will be using decentralized finance tools and blockchain-based platforms to manage their finances. Something like the Solana phone or other integrated devices could make it super easy for people to access all their financial services without ever needing to go to a traditional bank. So it's definitely something that could become the norm down the road.
Yeah, it is one of the major obstacles right now is that pretty much the interaction with these unless you use a Coinbase, a Kraken, this exchange, it's very difficult for people to jump into crypto buying self-custody their own crypto or using cold wallet. So, but if you can ensure security in your transaction with many layers of protection by using your phone that is encrypted, especially for that reason, I think the adoption is gonna explode 10, 20 years from now. What's your take on that? Can you give a kind of I don't know, an estimate or adoption for the near 10, 20 years from now?
I definitely agree that as the technology becomes more user friendly and integrated into devices that people are already comfortable with, like their phones, adoption is going to grow significantly. In the next 10 to 20 years, we could very well see a huge shift where crypto and blockchain technology become part of everyday financial transactions and could make things a lot more seamless and secure for everyone.
And by the way, I ordered pretty much almost 2 years ago. I ordered the Solana phone. They say they're about to start delivering this phone the first week or second week of August. So as soon as I'm gonna get one, I definitely want to do a review, and so I show you all the ins and out of the Seeker new Solana phone. In the meantime, my camera froze, but I can show you this article. So this one it's kind of sad because this from France is say they officially reject the proposals to mine Bitcoin with surplus energy. Let's also remind the people they're not familiar with France has a lot of nuclear power, so they do have a lot of energy, and it seems like they have the same fate of Germany with they sold all their Bitcoin. Finch, why the Europe is so repulsed by crypto and Bitcoin and this technology? What's the reason for it?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation. I think a lot of it comes down to regulatory concerns and environmental considerations. Some European countries are still cautious about the energy consumption associated with Bitcoin mining, even if there are ways to use surplus energy. And there's also a focus on consumer protection and making sure that the financial system is stable and secure. So it's kind of a mix of those factors that makes some European countries a bit more hesitant when it comes to embracing crypto.
I'd like to invite everybody also to smash the like, guys, like and subscribe, and also jump to YouTube so you can subscribe in there, turn on your notification bell. So that helps a lot the channel on growing, and also use the algo to kind of make the channel grows as well. So Finch, incentivize the people to come and jump over there. And also I'd like to give a shout out to Rain here. Thank you for supporting the channel pretty much every time we go live, and all the people also they are in right now in TikTok. Thank you very much, Saul, Livelin, K. Murray, and Goldmine. Thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting and check us out.
Absolutely. We really appreciate all of you for being here and supporting the channel. So definitely make sure you jump over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an update. It really helps us grow and keep bringing you all this great content. So thank you again for being part of the community.
All right, so I want to jump on something. Pretty much the president is calling Jerome Powell for calling for no, let's avoid the word, but he's calling him out for not cutting the rate, and they want, but we can see the cut of the rate as soon as July. So what the rate really do? Why we gonna see? So yeah, and then I'll ask you another question. What do you think cutting the rate is gonna jumpstart the market again?
Well, when interest rates are cut, it basically makes borrowing cheaper, which can encourage businesses and consumers to spend more and invest more. This often stimulates economic growth and can give the markets a nice boost because investors tend to feel more confident. So if we do see a rate cut as soon as July, it could definitely help energize the market and get things moving again.
If you can do a list of the pros that can happen in the near future. They're gonna boost the market. I'm gonna give you an example. So we have a imminent ETF approval, stablecoin legislation pass, rate cut. What else are missing? What are all the other things they are aligning? They can pretty much be the catalyst for the market, the crypto market to shoot the store.
Yeah, those are some great ones. Another big factor could be increased institutional adoption, like more large financial institutions getting involved in crypto. We could also see more regulatory clarity around the world, which would help build confidence. Technological advancements like improvements in blockchain scalability and security can also be a catalyst. And finally, broader mainstream adoption and integration of crypto into everyday services could really help propel the market forward.
I remember there was an interview from Larry Fink and Davos where he's actually talking about the major adoption from banks and also financial. It's not a financial advisor. They're now pretty much can suggest to their client to jump in it to buy crypto in a form in ETF, but they are not. It was doing something like the green, the yellow, and the red zone. I don't know if you remember that part. Do you want to kind of explain what that means?
Yeah, absolutely. So what Larry Fink was talking about was essentially the idea that financial advisors now have a bit more flexibility in recommending crypto to their clients. The green zone would be when they can comfortably recommend crypto, especially in the form of ETFs, because it's seen as a safer, more regulated option. The yellow zone would be more of a cautious approach where they might suggest it to certain clients who have a higher risk tolerance. And the red zone would be where it's still not recommended at all. So with more regulatory clarity and the emergence of crypto ETFs, we're moving more into that green zone, which is really exciting for mainstream adoption.
I'd like to touch very briefly on the Senator Lummis, Cynthia Lummis. They say Bitcoin is going to increase them dramatically. And so people are already talking about $1 million Bitcoin. So what's your take on that?
It's always fascinating to hear these bold predictions about Bitcoin's future price. Well, $1 million Bitcoin sounds pretty incredible. I think it's important to keep in mind that the market can be unpredictable. That said, with increasing institutional adoption, regulatory clarity, and mainstream acceptance, there's definitely potential for significant growth in the long term. So it'll be exciting to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, so I'm going to play this Cynthia Lummis video. Yeah, let me play.
Sounds good. Looking forward to hearing what she has to say, and we can definitely dive into it and break it down after we listen to the clip.
If we start, let's see. Of course. Oops. Something happened. All right. I don't know what happened, guys. It just seems like the browser stopped to work. All right, so let's keep our conversation. Okay, Finch, while...
have modeling that shows that Bitcoin is going to increase dramatically.
All right, I'm ready whenever you are. Let's dive in.
More slowly over time. All of the Bitcoin, meaning 99% of all the Bitcoin that will ever be mined, will be mined in the next 10 years. So this asset has growth potential for the next 10 years that's tremendous. I think the American people should admire the fact that President Trump was foresightful enough to engage in the digital economy. Everyone is going to be involved in this economy in one way or another. And I'm proud of the president for choosing to engage in this very promising component of the economy. Have modeling that shows.
So we're moving in the right direction. I can ensure that. Now, I'd like to touch also on the tokenization theme. So where the XRPL is active, and of course on the finance being also a very great competitor for the XRPL. So where do you see the tokenization sector in 5 years from now, Finch? If you do some projection, how much of the tokenization we can see really happening in 5 years?
I think the tokenization sector is poised for a lot of growth over the next 5 years as more industries and financial institutions start to adopt blockchain technology. We could see a lot of real world assets like real estate, stocks, and even commodities being tokenized. This makes them easier to trade and more accessible to a wider audience. So I think in 5 years, we're going to see a lot more mainstream adoption and a much larger market for tokenized assets overall.
All right. In the meantime, guys, I want to jump to...
Absolutely. It's definitely an exciting space to watch, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it evolves over the next few years. Thanks for bringing that up.
All right. So I'd like to show you the website, guys. If you like some swag, in and out crypto.com, you find a lot of good, cool stuff in there. Everything related to Bitcoin, Cardano, XRP. Also, I like to show you the Rare Evo ad because it's going to be held here in Las Vegas once again in the Caesar Palace. Definitely, I'm going to attend. I'm going to try to kind of get some videos for you to see later on. And yeah, definitely take a look. Go check this out. Take a look at inandoutcrypto.com is the best apparel store you can find. You find the hats that I'm wearing right now in the different colors. And of course, you have all other stuff to choose from. And also there is for girls. So for those one, you have your sports section. And now in the summer, guys, you have a lot to choose from if you like also trunks. Yeah. But also, I like if you go in the top section on tools right here, you'll see there are either Ledger and a Tracer links. Is an affiliate link if you guys want to check it out. I definitely you need to take care of your security. And talking about that on the security, I like to talk. Finch, I like to talk about what happened pretty much this week about the hack. All these records, the 16 billion records of password being snagged by Google, Apple, Telegram, Instagram, and more. So what you made out of this and how this can be dangerous for the crypto holder?
Yeah, that kind of security breach is definitely concerning, especially for crypto holders, since security is so crucial in the crypto space. When passwords and data get leaked, it puts accounts at risk of being compromised, and that can lead to potential loss of funds if someone gains access to your wallets or exchange accounts. It's always a good reminder to use strong, unique passwords and enable two-factor authentication wherever possible to keep
No, I don't
everything.
think that's going to be enough. I know a strong password. I don't think so. But guys, just make sure that you don't click any of the email, text that you receive, even answer calls that you don't know they're coming from. Just let it go to the answer machine and then or the answer box.
Absolutely. That's great advice. Staying vigilant and being cautious about what you click on and respond to is super important, especially in the crypto world. Always better to be safe than sorry when it comes to security.
I want to ask you something. So again, going back to the Solana phone, how much privacy can a phone like the Seeker to the Solana is bringing in can acquire? So it's like pretty much you have a cold store wallet in your phone.
Yeah, the Solana phone definitely has some interesting privacy and security features built in. It aims to integrate a secure element right into the phone, kind of like having a hardware wallet built into your device. This means your private keys can be stored securely on the phone without being exposed to the internet, which really boosts privacy and security. So it definitely brings a lot of potential for keeping your crypto holdings safe while also giving you the convenience of having it all in one device.
All right. So let's see. What other topics we jump in that we didn't talk yet? We got everything figured out. I guess you can give us some Spartan quotes since today seems to be the 5.9 XRP Spartan. Can you give us a quote for the warrior, for the XRP warriors?
Absolutely. How about this one? He who sweats more in training bleeds less in battle. It's a great reminder for all the XRP warriors out there that all the preparation and patience will pay off when the big moment arrives.
Hoorah! Okay, so also I'd like to show you very quickly this one. That's also a news for the altcoin daily. Say Coinbase crypto exchange secure MiCA license, unlock access to 27 European countries. Finch, you wanna comment very quick about this new breaking news?
Oh, that's definitely big news. With Coinbase securing that license, it means they'll be able to operate across 27 European countries, which is huge for expanding their reach and making crypto more accessible to a lot more people in Europe. It's a great step forward for mainstream adoption and definitely a positive sign for the crypto market.
All right. In the meantime, also as well, I'd like to thank everybody on the TikTok Gold Mine. Thank you for being here. You are core, really. Thank you, Epic Vibes, Rain here, Gary, for In and Out Crypto again, for supporting the channel. Last thought, you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining in and being part of the conversation. We really appreciate your support and energy. Until next time, keep that positive momentum going, and we can't wait to chat again soon. Take care, everyone.
You're now. Okay, XRP Spartan, thank you very much for joining, and until next time, ciao tutti!
Ciao a tutti. Thanks again for being here, and until next time, keep that warrior spirit strong. Take care, everyone.